I'm Noah.
And this is NFGeeks. All right. Well, this is a very special NFGeeks, isn't it, Noah?
Yes, very special.
That's right. Noah is my son. And on top of that, Noah is an ISTJ. So this series of videos are actually going to be dedicated to the SJ and SJ personality.
SJs.
That's right.
Authority. Rules.
Making the world conform.
Okay, I don't know if we make the world conform.
No, you don't succeed, but you try. That's right. So this is great, Noah, because as you know, even going way back when Dave was on NFGeeks, we've always talked a lot about SJs, and so this is special because now we have an SJ point of view to talk to sort of announce what's going on and just sort of give that side of it because we've been kind of hard on SJs sometimes, but now we can celebrate SJs on NFGeeks, so it's very special. Also, another thing that's, and we'll talk about this in the next video, but I think one thing that's very interesting is that, that we're quite opposite of each other. You're an ISTJ and I'm an ENFP.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of weirdness
But we do get along very greatly and have fun with it.
Yeah, for the moment. Anyway. Okay, so, all right, so the first thing, just like I do with every new guest, we talk about strengths and weaknesses about the ISTJs. So we're specifically going to talk about ISTJs.
Okay.
Okay. So I've actually logged quite a few hours with ISTJ. Okay. So I'm very familiar with ISTJ because my aunt, your great aunt, your grandmother's older sister, whom lived with me and Grammy, your grandmother, when I was a boy, she was an ISTJ. And you actually have a lot of her features, her physical features. You have far more of her physical features than you do mine. And you look like your grandmother too. You have some of those, but you have a lot of expressions. I'll talk about that maybe later. But you have a lot of facial expressions that she would have. Your uncle, my sister's husband.
Yeah.
That uncle on my side of the family. He's an ISTJ.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's him, and you, and there's you now. So I've had at least 3 close ISTJs to me.
That's a good amount.
Yeah, that sure is. All right, so I think so. Here are some strengths I think of ISTJ, and one of my favorites, and it's going to seem insignificant, but it's really very wonderful if you have to deal with an ISTJ, and this is true
you
about
have to deal with them.
If you must interact with them, you have no choice. It's forced upon you by the SJ.
And it will be.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. All right, the best. Okay, but seriously, and you're like this too, so this is great. ISTJs are almost always on time. Always on time. Yeah. Really, I think it's really special.
You wouldn't believe how many times I've gotten up on him and my mother about me getting late to school.
Yes. In fact, Noah has to be at school like a half hour.
I don't have. Okay. At least 10 minutes before the first bell rings.
But that's all right. But no, the first bell rings at like
45.
Okay, but we get there like 7:15, like 7:20.
No, we get there around 7:30.
Well, that's on a slow day when I get up late.
Yeah.
But we get there pretty early. But still, seriously, you're always on time. And that was also true of your aunt and my aunt and your uncle, too. It's not just you. But ISTJs are really good at being on time, and they're kind of like the turtle or the tortoise and the hare. You're not fast people. You don't move fast. Your body isn't fast. There's no speed going on, and yet somehow you're on time every time. And you're never that early. You're never that late. You're just right on time.
Well, we're trying to do things right.
Yes, that's right. Well, so speak about that. Why do you... Because you really try to be on time. Like, you're consciously trying to be on time.
I guess I kind of just feel that if I'm not on time, in some way I might get reprimanded or something.
By whom?
By the teachers, by other students. I don't know. It's just that I have this need to be on time. It makes me feel better.
Okay. All right. What do you do to maintain this on-timeness? Like, how do you, plan it in your mind? Like, what's the process?
I'll do this now. This is what I'm going to do 10 minutes from now. This is what I'm going to do 20 minutes from now.
Okay, so in other words, you have this regimented, you literally know, at 9:40 I will eat a sandwich.
Okay, not to that degree, but in, when I have to wake you up at 6:30, I take a shower at 6, and I'm sure, I'm already, closed at least 15 minutes into that, so, by 6:45 I'm already.
Okay, all right. Well, that's pretty good because you're usually on time, and
unlike you.
Well, I'm on time sometimes. I'm just
Not
not on
really.
time for you. Yeah, I'm never late for class.
You're always late with me.
Yeah, but that's your stuff. Not my stuff.
You know, you could care.
I do care. Please.
You know, you're the NF. I mean, really, you could care.
I do
Just
care.
a little.
I do care. I do care. I just don't care in a Nazi fascist-like manner.
I'm not telling you to care in a
That's
fascist
all.
way.
You know, I just don't care in this 1984 totalitarian, Brave New World kind of way. That would make you happy. All right, but what's interesting once about being on time is that one time, I don't know if you remember this, your mother was picking you up from school. This is high school. And she was a little late. And so you decided to walk to Nana's, which was right across the street. You were like 14, 15. And it was right across, his other grandmother's mother's
My phone
mother.
wasn't working, so I couldn't call her.
Right, so he just walked across the street. So you're only like 5 minutes late, or you were just...
Mom was
right, like 5 minutes. And she freaked out at 5 minutes late. Now, I realize other people would be like, what's the deal, 5 minutes? But Noah is so completely on time every time that if he's off 5 minutes, that's incredibly bizarre. And so your mother called up me in a panic and said, look, like at 10 past, she says, I can't find him. And my first thought was, what are you talking about? It's 10 past 4. How could he not be? Like, I started panicking. And the truth of the matter is, you just went to your grandmother's to use the phone, like, so ISTJ. Like, it wasn't like you were out smoking.
Okay, my phone wasn't working, and Mom told me that if she was ever late or couldn't make it, I should just go to Nana's. So, because I didn't know what the heck she was doing, and she was late.
And she was late!
I went to my grandmother's, like she said, so...
It's her fault.
Yes. It's all her fault.
Yes. But still, it was... but the point being is that you were only late. And honestly, by 4:15, like, you were back.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I ran back up, and everyone was like, oh, she came, and I was like, oh, crap.
Right. But, like, you're only missing for, like, 15 minutes.
Oh, I know.
But because you're always on time, it was incredibly...
was it really that bizarre?
Yeah, it was incredibly bizarre, yes. I was a little stunned when your mother called me. And she was in a panic.
Well, how did you feel after you heard the whole story of how I just did that?
Oh, it made perfect sense.
Okay.
Yeah, it made perfect sense. That's exactly, of course, what you did, When you're parents, you get worried. All right, I would say, so let me give you another strength. Another strength of ISTJ is a very strong sense of duty.
Well, that's like every SJ.
True. But there's also sort of a meticulous honesty that ISTJs have, I think, or at least a certain level of integrity, meaning that if they have a duty to you, they'll do their duty in the most honest way, even if they're pissed off at you or bad. But they'll still do it. If you're like this too, if you owe somebody something, you owe it to them, you'll do it the way you said you'd do it, even if you don't approve of something.
I've owed people money, and I do get it to them. And I tell them I might not be able to get them that day. And I've gotten to it later. So
Okay, and who are these that you owe money to? Drug dealers?
No, just like random lunch money because I either forgot to tell you or Mom, or I thought I had enough in my wallet and I didn't.
Okay.
That's
good.
Really, an SJ. That's not even something you assume with an SJ.
I know, that's because you're all beer drinkers. That's why. Well,
really?
There's something very beer and football about SJs, particularly ESTJs.
So those fans are SJs.
Oh my God, yes, a lot of them are SJs.
That makes me feel so much better.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. All right. So any comments about that?
No. I get it. I know when I'm beautiful.
Okay, good. All right. So here's some. All right. So now I got to talk about some limitations of ISTJ.
Oh, yay.
Well, they're not too bad. One of which, because we've talked about these, so there's no curveballs here, Noah. They're right, and they're pretty comical. One is, I gotta admit, kind of boring. Kind of a boring lifestyle compared to the ENFP lifestyle. You gotta do boring things. You kind of.
Well, in comparison to like the party animal.
Well, I'm not a party animal, but it's at least I have pizzazz.
Ginger ale doesn't have pizzazz?
Yeah, ginger ale. Okay, so Noah's favorite soda is ginger ale.
It's a good drink!
The most boring of all drinks. The most boring soda of all. To get to a more boring soda, you have to leave the word soda and get into, like, seltzer water. Like, it's that boring. It's the worst soda. It's the most boring soda.
We can be kind of fun. The thing went off.
No, that's all right. It's still on. Oh, in what way can you be kind of fun? What do you mean? That ginger ale could be fun?
No, that we could get into the funness. It just takes us a
Oh,
while.
ISTJs can get into fun?
I went to prom and I danced like hell.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
You actually moved your feet?
Yes.
Okay.
And my arms. I was all into it.
Oh, God. That must have been fantastic.
It was.
All right, but you have to admit, no, I mean, one of the funniest stories we always tell is that, Noah and I like going to Chinese food buffet. That's one of our restaurants that we go to.
Oh, God.
And, like, this is how boring you are. You go to a Chinese buffet where there's, like, 10 million things of Chinese food, and what do you get? You get fried chicken. You get French fries. Like, you get American food. You go to a Chinese buffet to get American food.
And as you quoted the first time I did that, Noah, you are the only person I know that goes to a Chinese restaurant and gets American food.
Yes. Yes, that's pretty boring, Noah.
Okay, but it's because SJs like to go with what they're used to.
Ah, well, that's actually very true of the ISTJ in particular.
We don't
like ISTJs, because this
new
is
stuff.
right. This isn't a bad thing, so this isn't a limitation. But like, and this is true of ISTJs too, because your uncle was like this too. Is that ISTJs, like, you pretty much could eat the same exact meal every day.
I ate Grammy's pasta like nearly every day.
Right, without complaint. Like, totally fine with it, especially if you like it. Like, if you
it's
like
food. It's not some. It's
all right,
not,
but
it's just food.
I know, but you could eat the same exact meal day after day after day. That's why ISTJs do well in the military, because it's the same food over. That's why they can handle that. Okay, I couldn't handle that.
Why?
Because I need variety in my life. I can't eat the same thing every day over and over. I could eat the same thing like once a week, maybe even twice a week, but I couldn't go every day. Like, you could go every day.
Oh, yeah, I like the taste.
I know, but if anything, that's like,
it's bland.
Right, well, there's no variation. It's not that it's bad, but there's no variation whatsoever. You know. Right. But that's not necessarily a limitation. I guess the other limitation I want to talk about, I think, with ISTJs is not always very sensitive to people's problems, situations.
It's not our problem. Why do we need to be sensitive?
Yeah, exactly. So one thing I've talked about before on NFGeeks too, about that I have here specifically, is I find that, because your uncle does this, is that ISTJs like watching shows where people make jackasses out of themselves. Because you watch these things, like the people on the skateboarders falling down the stairs and all that. Like, you watch these things for a long time, and you find them hysterical. And so does your uncle. Your uncle watches, like, Jerry Springer,
Jersey Shore,
and Jersey Shore. Now, keep in mind, this is somebody with an MBA. He's a midtown banker of New York. Okay, and like, he loves, like, these shows, and it's not because he's one of them. Because I think our impression is of both of you is that you sort of laugh at their stupidity.
Yes, that pretty much sums it up. I mean,
and so does your uncle. He does the same thing.
It's not us. It's not us happening to us. It's nobody we know happening
right.
To
That's
us.
what.
So
that's exactly what your uncle says.
Why do we have to
precisely?
Give a call?
That's exactly.
Like, why do we have to care? It's not us or anybody we know.
That's here. In fact, he watches with, like, a little bit of stunned face of how stupid people are. But that's how funny it is.
Yeah. I watched 1,000 Ways to Die. That's one of the things.
Yeah, right. You watched that.
And I find it hysterical and yes, as screwed up as it is, at some points I do feel like they might deserve it.
Oh my God.
Okay, if you're that stupid, if you literally do that stupid of a thing, then really you're just asking for it. You're asking for it.
Wow. All right. That's rough. That's
cold.
cold.
I know. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. You don't have to be sorry. It's funny. All right. Well, how do you think you act ISTJ sort of outside the house? Like, I know how you act ISTJ around here, but where do you think you're being ISTJ in any of these ways, in the world?
Well, I'm definitely dutiful in my work at school. I mean, I'm always just the quiet kid that just writes everything and just answers the questions and not screwing around.
Yeah,
talking to people.
All right, can you tell this story? This is great ISTJ stuff. Okay, I'm gonna tell part of it so that you can jog your memory. Okay. You told me once that they were doing some kind of Jeopardy-like game show in class, and your team actually got a point they didn't deserve, and you told the teacher, and everyone was mad at you and your team. Do you remember this? This was like a year or two ago. It might not have been Jeopardy, but it was like a game show kind of. Maybe Jeopardy-like thing.
No, but I really don't remember, but I'm sure that's happened. But I remember when I was really little, we had this carnival thing down at Battleship Cove.
Okay.
I was really little. No, this was before school, and we went there and we had to answer questions, and Mom was giving me the answers, and for like the last question, Mom gave me the answer, and I didn't tell the team
Oh,
because I felt bad because I felt it was cheating,
oh, that's
and
great.
we lost, and I kind of always had that.
Oh, that's great.
Every time I look back on it, I feel crappy, but I don't look back on it like every day or whatever. But I do feel shitty. Like, I don't know whether like, it messed up my values, man. I didn't want to cheat, but maybe I should have.
No, not at all. That was right. All right, so that's the end of part 1. So,
Yay.
yay.